as you can imagine, there's committee meeting after committee meeting. So I commend our legislators who are staying, late at night trying to sift through all the bills, trying to get things done. It's a heavy schedule. I know just my little part and is pretty taxing, but they're staying late and trying to get it done. And
no rest for the weary.
That's true. That's true. But so I'm glad to be here today. I'm glad that, glad it worked out. I know we were looking at maybe another day, but hey, I'm happy to.
I know. Well, Senator England was supposed to be here today. He said he is going to make it up to me though, so he will be here at some point.
He's a great guy, so I'm sure he will make it up to you.
He had to change he couldn't help it.
I'm not as funny and charming as him, but I will definitely try to do my best to sit in today for this. But we're just going to kind of walk through a couple of things that we're working on. And, we'll talk a little bit more about education toward the end of the show, which has been a top priority for us. I know it is for you as well with Moms for Liberty, but I'm going to also kind of work through something else we're working on and we'll be affected by that critical deadline that's coming up. And that is House Bill 1072. It's a Portable Benefits Act. So I want to kind of just explain the concept a little bit for everyone.
Yes, because I think it's hard. It's a little people don't understand what that means when you hear it.
Exactly. So I think most people understand when you talk about an independent contractor. That's someone who is self-employed, works with a hiring partner, not an employer. It's different through a contractual agreement, and so there's a lot of different ways to look at this. People are very familiar with people who drive for, like Uber and Lyft and work through, companies like DoorDash and Instacart, the delivery type companies. I think that's kind of what we always refer to as the gig economy. But an independent contractor goes much further than that. An independent contractor can be some of the top 10 industries. We had one of our partners that we work with a good bit, and someone who does a lot of research and policy is the Mercatus Center. And so one of the things they did is identify in Mississippi what they sort of see as the top 10 areas that are impacted by this. And so construction is one, right? A lot of people are construction workers. They're paid as independent contractors. You've got, repair services, your handyman is probably most likely if you have someone who comes around and
I always need one of those.
Yeah, right. I know. And a good handyman is good to find, right?
Yes.
And then it's like transportation and warehousing, right? A lot of people who work in that industry are independent contractors. There's administrative support services that can be out there that are often independent contractors. Real estate and rental leasing. Those are, big areas today. All the real estate people were at the Capitol, right? Many of the real estate people are independent contractors themselves. And depending on who their hiring partner is, they may or may not have benefits, right? They may or not have some sort of benefit program. Professionals that are scientific or technical. I mean, we're entering an age of AI where we're going to see more and more. I know. No, listen,
it's scary. It scares me, Starla.
I know it scares you, but there are some really good things with AI.
I agree.
I use it every single day of my life. And
I do too. I just get worried about it.
Yeah.
It's so hard to,
how do you manage that? And
within the schools and education?
Yeah, I think a lot of that. But look, we don't want Mississippi to be behind.
Absolutely not.
Left behind. And we have, Maine down on the coast that is working on this, and a lot of people that are putting it together. And so there are some good things going on that we're looking at. You don't want to regulate something to the point that it can't be innovative and we're left behind.
And Moms for Liberty actually joined the task force, the White House. So we're working with the White House on that.
Okay, wonderful. That's good. And the White House has some good ideas. So we'll see what comes out of that. But for us, I think the point of view there is let's not regulate an industry that can actually benefit people. There was a bill that we opposed this year that had to do with AI in the mental health industry, but it was how the bill was written. It was so restrictive. I felt like when I was reading it that if somebody just went on AI to look up something and they were a mental health professional, I was worried they were going to, maybe be penalized or fined or worse.
No, we don't want that.
We don't want that. So we have to find that good happy medium, and that's what we're aiming to do. But then also there's healthcare and social assistance, right? There are people in the healthcare industry who are independent contractors, people who maybe do home health or things like that. Some may or may not work for an agency. agency. Oh, but even if they do, the agency could be the hiring partner and they're the independent contractor. And then there's like retail trade. Then 9 and 10 rounds it out with arts, entertainment, and recreation. So, we have a lot of musical talent here in Mississippi. We have a lot of people who work in different industries, but a lot of those people are also independent contractors. And then finance and insurance, actually, sometimes there's a segment of that industry where people are independent contractors to that, whether it's consulting or it's actually working in a short term type of role from time to time with different organizations.
So stupid question here.
Yeah.
When you say independent contractor, does that mean from the, I know nothing about this part of legislation. Sure. Does that mean for someone who's self-employed?
Yes. Basically? So absolutely, you'd have to be self-employed. Now, the workforce has really changed. We've seen, and Mississippi has seen a great deal of increase here in the state and people who would qualify as independent contractors, because as our economy grows under the Governor Tate Reeves, and as we move through,
which he's done a great job of,
as we move through some of that, you're going to see the different entities and different businesses, even when you look at some of the different pieces that are coming in, there could be an option of hiring independent, as a contractor, certain segments of that. The jobs might be independent contractor jobs, which is fine. But there's also a segment of the population who likes and maintains independent contract work because it gives them the flexibility to take on as much work as they can handle for a while and then, add to it. Sometimes it's even something that we don't even think about. It could be a single mom who says, I'm going to work for several hiring partners. I'm going to be a delivery person. I can work my schedule around my children, around when they have care, daycare and that kind of stuff, and when they're at school, and I can work during these hours. I've had people come to my house because I use the gig economy extensively. I do not go to the grocery store. It's a shameless plug.
Same.
I'm
not even going to say it shameless. Look, it helps. It saves money. It helps me.
Those 60 to 70 hours a week I need to spend out working.
Just try going with 5 kids. Yeah. You won't want to do that again.
Exactly. I can imagine. So there's your stuff. It's not, it's working around a little different thing. But those individuals, what I've found in having conversations with the people who come to my door is that many of them are working for more than one entity. So they may be delivering my groceries, but they may be
DoorDash, Uber. All of them.
They work for as many as possible, and they've made a full-time work out of it. But it's flexible, so they can pick up whichever one makes sense for them at whatever time of day or evening. Those flexible, and they like that. But here's the thing: if every one of those entities, as a hiring partner, agreed to, and I say agree because this is a voluntary program. It is not mandated. Some businesses would be restrained in their resources, so we can't mandate that they offer this. But there could be larger organizations and businesses with greater wealth who would not be restrained in their resources and would be able to supply, this monies that can go into an account. We'll talk through that a little bit later. But anyway, a lot of these people are working for more than one entity. And so the really cool thing about this is if all 3 entities offer a benefit, as part of their contractual agreement, they could work for more than one hiring partner and be collecting monies from the different entities, however it's set up. But again, it's voluntary on both ends. You don't have to participate as the independent contractor. You opt in. It's absolutely an opt-in program. And it's been passed already in several other states, one of which is our neighbor, Alabama. And so we're starting to see this program expand. Tennessee and Wisconsin have also passed similar programs. There's been some states that have been leading the way, which is Maryland, Pennsylvania, Georgia. There's been some pilot programs done with some of the larger, gig economy type people. But overall, it's a win-win for the independent contractor, a win-win for the business. Now, you might say, well, why do we need a law for this, right? Well, here's the problem. The worker status is very important to the independent contractors who want to be in that either flexible situation, want to be their sole proprietor, individual, independent contractor. And so they don't want to change that format. But unfortunately, if the law doesn't allow a lot of the hiring partners at this point, and this is where we have the problem, to actually provide these benefits to them without some sort of legal backlash. So sorry about that.
That's okay.
I'm dropping things. But anyway, that's the important piece here, and that is what we are
that's where government overreach comes in.
Right. That's where we want to remove that barrier, allow the hiring partner and independent contractor to maintain that relationship with no backlash, but be able to provide these benefits. Now, the cool thing about it is the benefit follows the independent contractor. So monies would be deposited into an account that's set up, and there's a lot of different ways that they could use this money. They could simply save it for retirement and invest it in retirement accounts. They could use it to offset the cost of their, health insurance, because most independent contractors do not have a, health insurance plan. So if they could use it to offset the cost of insurance, they could have it come into the account, go directly paid back out of it to an insurance plan that they're signed up for. And then the other side of it is like a cash emergency. So like, let's say, or paid time off. These are other benefits. When you're an independent contractor, no one's paying for your vacation, right? You're going to pay for it yourself, obviously, the trip and all the stuff, just like the rest of us. But the time that you're off, you could maybe pay yourself back out of that account if you needed to. You may not. You may not be in that position.
Kind of like having PTO days if you need them.
Yeah. Let's just say, like, hey, let's say you get the flu, and I know for me it was 6 weeks, but I wasn't out all of those 6 weeks. But there were, a couple of days it was really difficult.
It was bad. It was bad this year.
It was bad this year, right? And so let's just say you can't work for a couple of days, instead of like being impacted where you can't pay
financially,
pay your rent, pay your bills, pay whatever. You could pay yourself, like whatever, back out of that account and use it for those particular things. We see it as a plus for both entities. There is some conversation that's going on at the Capitol right now about how the tax deduction piece would work. So to be clear on the federal piece, this type of thing isn't necessarily an entity for them. So federal taxes would be what federal taxes are. Like, how you utilize it may give you some breaks. It may or may not. But on the state part, we have in the current bill some talks about businesses, the hiring partners being allowed to take this as an expense line item. And then there's also whether or not there'd be some sort of tax deduction that, could be at the state level. So we are open to looking at that. And I know there's some conversation about what would the impact be. We're happy to have those conversations, but what we don't want to see, and if that means that we need to substitute something in the bill for this session and then come back next session, we don't want to see the opportunity for people to start receiving their money in their accounts and start having these opportunities available to them in Mississippi over a tax deduction at this point. So if we need to look at that separately, we're more than happy.
Where is the bill in the process?
So right now it passed through the House unanimously. The bill sponsors, Representative Lee Yancey, has been a great policy champion over at the Capitol for many things, and continues to do so this session. It passed out of the House. It came over, and it's now assigned to the Insurance Committee, which Senator Walter Michelle is the chairman there, and then it has to go through there, and because it does deal with some stuff around insurance inside the bill, and then the finance chair, which is Senator Josh Harkins. And so what
I like Senator Harkins,
right? And then obviously there's input from the lieutenant governor. And so what we're asking all three of these entities to do is to come together and take a look at this bill. Let's get it out of the committee. We can talk about it some more from there, but let's get it out of the committees and continue the conversation by the deadline. And if we need to say, like, hey, we need some information we can't obtain right now on that tax deduction, well, let's move on from that.
Let's come together at a conference and
let people start having, like, entertaining the money that they can have, and the bill can be tweaked to do that, but we need to continue this conversation.
And we'll continue this conversation. We got to take a break.
Sure.
Y'all stay with us. There's a lot more to break down. I know AFP has got a lot of stuff that they are working on this session, and this is a big one.
Right.
And so we're going to continue this conversation. Y'all stay with us. We will be right back here. WIAB 103.9, The Lindsay Beckham Show. Back here, WIAB 103.9, The Lindsay Beckham Show.
1039 WYAB.
Pure Air Consultants offers services on your heating and cooling system. It's time to get your heating system serviced. We offer replacement, service, maintenance agreements. It's important because if you have a gas heating system, it can produce carbon monoxide. So you want to make sure you have your system serviced and cleaned to protect your family. You want to make sure your system is safe to run. You can find us at our website at mypureairconsultants.com, mypureairconsultants.com.
Get ready, Louisiana! Johnny's Pizza House is turning up the heat with our sweet the swamp pizza. Packed with crawfish, shrimp, a taste of crab, andouille sausage, bell peppers, onions, jalapenos, and a blend of Cajun spices, all smothered in delicious mozzarella cheese. It's the perfect bite of the bayou and the perfect meal for any Cajun crave. Try our Cajun flip or dive into a sweet the swamp pizza bowl. A taste of Louisiana flavor is waiting on you. Let's share a slice today at Johnny's Pizza House.
Americans for Prosperity is Mississippi's and the country's leading grassroots organization dedicated to promoting economic freedom and personal liberty. Americans for Prosperity advocates for limited government, free market policies, and empowering individuals. When given freedom and opportunity, Americans are capable of extraordinary things. If you are ready to make a difference in our community and want to get involved, then visit americansforprosperity.org. Be a part of positive change at americansforprosperity.org. Paid for by Americans for Prosperity.
After 28 years, we are closing our brick and mortar location in Canton come November 2025. But fear not, smalltownmusic.com will remain alive and well, and you will still be able to text or call 601-859-8596. Small Town Music, come on and get it. 859-8596. Call before you're home. We will have a booth on Canton Square at the Emporium, and you can still browse our guitars and support our original music at www.smalltownmusic.com.
Acme Pizza and Daiquiris is leveling up. A whole new Acme Pizza and Daiquiris is now open at the Reservoir at Beethoven's Boardwalk in Ridgeland, right next door to Cock of the Walk. And the new Acme Pizza and Daiquiris will have all of your old favorites too, like the Acme Dynamite Balls and Garlic Knots, and the best specialty pizzas ever, like the Pig, the Sergeant Pepperoni, the Surf and Turf, and lots more. Come to the all-new Acme Pizza and Daiquiris location on the Res in Ridgeland, next door to Cock of the Walk. When you feel like your business is drowning in paperwork and compliance issues, it's time to call Peoplease. Let Peoplease take care of the busy work so that you can save valuable time and focus on what really matters, growing your business. Peoplease is based in Ridgeland, so you're always dealing with local professionals who will actually understand your business and its needs. Join thousands of satisfied clients who trust Peoplease to simplify their employee administration. Visit peoplease.com. That's peoplease.com to learn more.
Looking for adventure, amazing food, and a little relaxation all in one place? You'll find it at Cypress Point Resort in Brandon. Load up the family and experience a real drive-through safari, petting zoo, and thrilling guided Jeep tours. Then slow it down with mouth-watering steaks at the steakhouse, or grab drinks and live music at the tavern. Planning a wedding or reunion? Cypress Point Resort has beautiful venues and cozy lodging. Ready for your big day or just a weekend escape? It's everything you love about the outdoors with a touch of luxury. Cypress Point Resort. Wild fun right around the corner.
Welcome back into the Men's Health and Women's Wellness of Mississippi studios. We are live here in the Cotton Exchange Plaza in Flora, Mississippi. 601-879-0002 is the number to call in today. If you have any questions or comments, anything you would like to ask Ms. Starla, who is the director of Americans for Prosperity of Mississippi and also a proud sponsor of the Lindsay Beckham Show. 601-879-4648 is our text line if you would like to text in any questions for her. We are talking about the portability in
benefits
workforce.
Right, exactly, right. So House Bill 1072 is what we've been talking about, a portable benefits. And so look, I'll leave you with a little bit of kind of a last thing on that, and then we can move on to talk about some other conversations. But at the end of the day, we're asking individual independent contractors who think this is a good thing. We're asking them to call to the lieutenant governor's office and make sure that he reviews this bill with our two chairmen, and that we can get this bill out of committee by March 3rd, right? And get this out of committee, continue the conversation, tweak what we might need to tweak. But at the end of the day, Mississippi can join a national movement.
And Madison and Rankin, I mean, these are your people.
Right.
This Walter Michelle in Madison County,
Right.
Josh Harkins over in Rankin.
Yeah. And we can join a national movement by allowing workers to create portable benefit accounts, and companies to contribute to those without triggering worker reclassification, so they can remain in that classification that they are in as an independent contractor. And by doing so, Mississippi is going to actually be supporting a modern day an inclusive economy that aligns with how people are working today. I mean, the workforce has changed.
Oh, it definitely
and it's going
has.
to continue to do. There's no trend that we've visualized with this that shows people more and more are doing that. And
there's so many parents that need to be able to do it that way,
right? That's a piece of it. But at the end of the day, people want flexible work. I think after COVID, we saw
if you can make it work now,
right? We saw such a surge in that, and a lot of people love that opportunity. And so, for whatever reason it is, this is about the independent contractor, the worker, and it gives them the opportunity to maintain that classification, receive some benefits they wouldn't other get. So let's get this bill across the line. Let's open up these accounts and let the money start flowing to them. And we can figure out some other things past that. But the sooner we can implement that, the sooner companies can take a look and see how can I impact my bottom line. There's been some research and information that's important on this. One of the things that makes this a great opportunity for the hiring partner. So if you're a business out there and the majority of the people you hire actually,
I was going to say, when you get more quality workers,
exactly,
if you offer
because there's more stability and alignment that happens. People aren't looking for the next best thing to some degree, because there's some alignment there that would happen with that. Allows benefits. It allows those who do opt in. Again, it's all voluntary, but those who do opt in can maybe be even more competitive with other businesses. And if they
and we know what competition does. It makes everybody better.
Right. That's true. So we're happy for House Bill 1072 to make it across the line. If you feel inclined, if you're out there listening, you're an independent contractor, one, or there's someone in your family, call the lieutenant governor's office and let them know House Bill 1072, that we'd like to see it come out of committee by March 3rd and continue the conversation.
Absolutely. Well, I'm praying that we get that done. We did have, I know one thing AFP has been really strong on is our CON laws. And we saw Aaron Rice, our very own in Mississippi, have a huge win there.
That's right. Right. So, so I'm hoping that we actually have a national podcast, and I know that they're working on maybe getting Aaron and Butch Salter onto that. But one of the things that we had are some moratoriums right here in the state. And this only impacted one of them, but there are others that are still out there. And so it does set some case law and precedents. So we're in case waiting before the judge for a very, very long time, but he finally did rule. And he while it didn't impact overall CON laws, one of the pieces that I think was most important is he kind of saw the absurdity, if you will, around having these moratoriums. Look, we have aging population in our country, no matter what state you're in, and some states certainly have more than others. But to say that a home health professional, we're going to have where we have them, or how many we need to do that. Some of those people are actually independent contractors as well.
Right.
So
again, government overreach.
Exactly. So certificate of need laws, for those listening who aren't familiar, I think hopefully we've done a good job.
It said CON a lot of times, but that means certificate of need.
Right. As our hashtag is in the con, right? And so the thing about certificate of need laws is, bottom line, it's basically a permission slip from the government for an existing or new facility that falls into one of several categories for healthcare to actually be able to open. The state has to provide this permission. And in the past, what we've seen, and they're working through we've been trying to work through some bills on this. There's still some good bills out there. So we'll see where we end up at the end of session. But in the past, when you applied for a certificate of need, the other thing that would occur is your competition could literally go and file a lawsuit and fight for you to get against you to get that certificate of need. And so if you wanted to open up a clinic down the street and you wanted just to, provide a particular service under certain categories, that if there was another clinic in the county, they could go and file this, or a hospital or whatever it might be. And so the problem becomes is that your competition is trying to keep you in the marketplace. Now, in the private sector, can you imagine what that would look like if a private industry business went to open up and said, hey, I'm going to sell hot dogs, and there's a hot dog restaurant 10 miles away, and that a restaurant could come and sue you for even trying to open up. We just don't work that way in the private sector.
People have lost a lot of money.
Yes. I say hundreds of thousands, and I'm not being inaccurate about that, in trying to fight these ridiculous lawsuits from their competition, and then sometimes just give up and don't even
because it takes forever to get the approval if you're within so many miles, and then you've already probably invested money into a business that you want to start up, even like MRI imaging centers.
Sure, absolutely.
If there's one within so many miles and you're waiting on your approval that you think you're going to get, and you start to get everything together and you invest in it, then you find out, oh wait, I can't open.
Yeah.
Because it might cause some competition for someone.
Right. Right. And I'm sad for the issue that UMMC is having with the ransomware.
Isn't that terrible?
It is terrible. It is terrible, these cyber attacks. But when we build conglomerates, like a big chunk of what we have access to healthcare gets hit when something like this happens.
Yeah.
And so look, competition drives costs down. We are patient center focused. And that is the people of Mississippi. We want healthcare to be accessible and affordable. And there's so many different ways to do that. So there's not this one size fits all, government approach. In fact, we'd like to see government get out of the healthcare industry altogether.
Yeah.
And that
yeah, we would.
but we've for so many years had policies that just continue to make it worse and worse. And it's hard to say, like, what is the actual answer here? But there are a multitude of things that we can do, and certificate of need is certainly one of them.
And you don't realize that this is an issue until it affects you. I mean, Mayor Mary, right here in Madison, Mississippi, one of the first times, we're good friends, and one of the first times we ever talked to her husband, who she was helping take care of, he was sick for a long time, and she was like, we have to get rid of these CON laws.
Right. Yeah, Mayor Mary's been outspoken about that, and she understands. Like, she's the mayor of a community who could benefit from open up more, because as the population increases or whatever it looks like, we need more healthcare, more accessibility for people. I just saw a gentleman, who's been supportive for us on the education front, who's come to committee meetings, and he was talking about taking his toddler to Baptist Hospital at the emergency room last night, and what that looked like, the wait and the time and the whatever.
Especially now that UMC is
right. Exactly. And so the shortage, the shortage of healthcare workers, the shortage of whatever. So like when, one of the things I've always never understood about, if we talk about the shortage, and we do a lot of work to try to help, there are bills and policy out there to try to help bring more workers into the state. But the other side of it is these type of things would actually even create more jobs, right? And then there's a reason to come to Mississippi, right? More jobs, more economically sound healthcare industry that isn't, shaded by government overreach, where we could really start to make that a thriving part of our economy, would bring more people here. So
this a few years ago, it was expanding Medicaid for all. This is something we could do that would help the individual when it comes to their health care, without having to go down that path of the Medicaid issue.
Well, here's the thing right now, and a lot of people probably don't, unless you've been in that situation.
Right.
But if you know someone who has been, or you have a family member, you've been in it yourself, there's a lot of negotiation over insurance versus cash payments, and whether the entity is taking a loss and just individually taking a loss, or they're dipping into some funds from the government to begin with. But we have a lot of uninsured individuals in our state. We know that.
Yeah, I'm one of them.
And so we have, and so the idea of like competition driving costs down, like I can give you something that happened here in the state where, there was a 900.
So hold that thought.
Okay.
We got to take a break. But when we come back, I want to hear this story.
Okay.
And I think everybody else needs to hear it too. So y'all stay with us. We will be right back here on the Lindsay Beckham Show. else needs to hear it too. So y'all stay with us. We will be right back here on the Lindsay Beckham Show.
1039 WYAB.
Pure Air Consultants offers services on your heating and cooling system. It's time to get your heating system serviced. We offer replacement, service, maintenance agreements. It's important because if you have a gas heating system, it can produce carbon monoxide. So you want to make sure you have your system serviced and cleaned to protect your family. You want to make sure your system is safe to run. You can find us at our website at mypureairconsultants.com, mypureairconsultants.com.
Get ready, Louisiana! Johnny's Pizza House is turning up the heat with our sweet the swamp pizza. Packed with crawfish, shrimp, a taste of crab, andouille sausage, bell peppers, onions, jalapenos, and a blend of Cajun spices, all smothered in delicious mozzarella cheese. It's the perfect bite of the bayou and the perfect meal for any Cajun crave. Try our Cajun flip or dive into a sweet the swamp pizza bowl. A taste of Louisiana flavor is waiting on you. Let's share a slice today at Johnny's Pizza House.
Americans for Prosperity is Mississippi's and the country's leading grassroots organization dedicated to promoting economic freedom and personal liberty. Americans for Prosperity advocates for limited government, free market policies, and empowering individuals. When given freedom and opportunity, Americans are capable of extraordinary things. If you are ready to make a difference in our community and want to get involved, then visit americansforprosperity.org. Be a part of positive change at americansforprosperity.org. Paid for by Americans for Prosperity.
CBS News Brief. Hillary Clinton has been answering questions about possible connections to Jeffrey Epstein from the House Oversight Committee. Kentucky Republican and Chair James Comer.
This isn't just about Democrats. This is about anyone that has any knowledge of Epstein, the investigation. I think we all agree the government failed. The government failed the victims.
The U.S. is looking into Cuba's claims after yesterday's deadly confrontation between their border guards and a boat from the U.S. that came close to the Cuban coast. Correspondent Christiane Benavides.
Cuban officials claim those on board opened fire first, injuring a Cuban commander. Border guards, Cuba says, returned fire, killing 4 and injuring 6 others.
The U.S. and Iran are talking again. Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi says this is what Iran wants.
We are ready to remove concerns, but we are not ready to give up our rights for peaceful use of nuclear technology. This is what we demand.
CBS News Brief. I'm Peter King.
For decades, you've known the name Martin's for good times, great food, and the best live music. Now that's happening at 2 locations, downtown Jackson and Livingston. Check the websites, martinslivingstonms.com and martinsdowntownjxn.com for the many special events and live music lineups. You can chill with friends on the big patio at the Livingston location and enjoy the blue plate lunches and nightly drink specials. Martin's, downtown and Livingston.
Greetings. I'm Dr. Benny Tate, president of the Congregational Methodist Church denomination in Florence, Mississippi, and the pastor of Rock Springs Church in Milner, Georgia, inviting you to attend one of our services this week. Find a church near you at cm-church.org and be sure and listen every Sunday morning at 7:30 a.m. for our weekly program, Apples of Gold from Rock Springs Church, here on 103.9 WYAB.
Hey guys, this is Casey Ellis with Ellis Autoplex, located on Highway 471 in Brandon. Ellis Autoplex, known as Little Truck City, is your old school mom and pop style dealership that's family owned and operated. We specialize in 4-wheel drive trucks, but don't worry, we have cars and SUVs too. Looking to sell your vehicle? Bring it by Ellis Autoplex, where we pay fair market value and we cut you a check on the spot. Need your vehicle service or repair? We can handle that too. Shop us online or set your appointment at ellisautoplex.com. That's ellisautoplex.com.
If you're a parent or grandparent, you should know that even though Mississippi is ranked as the unhealthiest state in the country, we have the highest vaccination rate for our children and grandchildren. Many of us blindly trust the medical establishment, and now it's time to question vaccine safety. Mississippi Parents for Vaccine Rights is a grassroots organization working to educate the public and lawmakers about this important topic. Be informed. Go to mpvr.org. Like us on Facebook to stay up to date on the latest information. That's Mississippi Parents for Vaccine Rights, mpvr.org.
Smart business owners will tell you the best time to start a new business is now. Whether you're thinking of starting a new business or expanding an existing one, the perfect location is the Cotton Exchange Plaza in Flora. Over 13,000 cars will pass by your business each and every day on Highway 49. Space is available now, so what are you waiting for? Call the Cotton Exchange Plaza at 601-879-3503 to find out how you can expand your business today. The Cotton Exchange Plaza in Flora, where we mean business.
Come together.
Welcome back in to the Men's Health and Women's Wellness of Mississippi studios. This is the Lindsay Beckham Show. We are streaming live on YouTube, Facebook, and X. And of course, we are live right here on WIAB 1039, 50,000 watt signal getting out there across the state. We are joined by the Americans for Prosperity Mississippi State Director, Ms. Starla Brown, and we were talking about CON, Certificate of Need laws.
And so I was talking about sort of this notion about insurance versus cash payment. And I want to say this goes on all the time in Mississippi. And I'm sure there's people who are listening who may have been in this situation if you didn't have health care. But the thing is,
I mean, our studio sponsor, Men's
right.
Health, they they don't take insurance. It's
Right.
just a monthly fee.
Yeah, exactly. And so, and we have doctors who are concierge doctors in Mississippi that,
People can't afford
right,
healthcare
exactly. And so
insurance
that's part of the issue too. But one of the things that we're seeing is that, like, there's a difference in what entities charge for a cash payment or a payment plan versus what they'll charge if insurance is involved.
Oh, when I worked in the healthcare field, I would look at the bills and I would see what we were charging per needle or per syringe. And I was thinking, I'll order the stuff.
Right.
That has some kind of markup right there.
Right. Exactly. And so there's that piece, but the radical ideas would be, and I, sometimes I do dream of it, but would be just to not have a health insurance industry altogether, and let the free market take over healthcare.
Yeah.
But since it's so radical, it's not happening. We do have to get back to some notion of making changes and especially to policies that prohibit any sort of free market activity that we can remove. And again, we've prioritized certificate of need as one of those, but there's a lot of different ways to look at how we could solve healthcare. And it's not going to be, I think for a lot of people and a lot of elected officials, it's like, well, let's just do this thing, which a lot of times is talking only about expanding Medicaid or something along those lines and just, tweaking that and upping. That is not going to solve the problem long term. I do realize there's an issue there that is monumental. I'm not immune to what that looks like. But for the longer term outlook, we've got to start thinking outside of the box. And so there are some good bills that do that this year. There's some that are working through some different types of what healthcare plans can look like, and those kind of things. And so as we offer people more options, just like we'd like to do that in education. Yeah. We do think that'll help. That will certainly be beneficial to
the pushback on that. Not even just on the CON Certificate of Need laws, but also on what we're talking about in the first segment with having these independent contractors have some sort of savings account. What does the opposition say to these things? Was there problems with that?
So far on the opposition on the portable benefits, it's not been something like that. But when you look at healthcare, I use the word protectionist. People want to protect themselves from
like the pharmaceutical industry,
from competition.
Yeah.
And so that is a problem that we see here a lot. I have to register as a lobbyist. I don't look at myself as a lobbyist, but I do have to go and talk to elected officials about bills and opportunities. We're a grassroots organization, and I think you're going to see a lot of grassroots movement for the next 3 to 4 days on independent contractors. So I do say this. I think what happens is people automatically want to protect something. And so they want to be the only one and they don't want to have competition. And that's really what we've seen in Certificate of Need is that people want to protect what they have. And it's not patient-centered and patient-focused where we're trying to allow for affordable, accessible health care.
Yes. I mean, same with the education piece. It's like, who's thinking about what's best for these children? Who's thinking about what's best for these patients?
Yeah.
You know?
I think also too, like, one of the things that we have to realize is antiquated thinking for something that, if something was great 50 years ago does not mean it's great today.
Sometimes change is good.
Yeah, change it can be very good. It can be very innovative. It can also save money. It can be cost effective when we boil it down. And so I think we have to really start thinking that way. Like, well, when you hear, well, that's the way we've always done it, does not mean that it's still good anymore. The world has changed a lot. I'm old enough to live through some of those decades of change, right?
Look, me too.
Yeah. I mean, I go back to the days when, I remember the first color television brought home and I thought, oh, we've hit the jackpot, right?
or the dial up.
and I'm not from a wealthy family. So, it was like a big deal for us. But the thing is, like, that's where we look at all of these different pieces. There are changes. And so innovation is a good thing. Innovation generally brings better alignment for people out there in the state, and it brings better opportunity. We're looking for policy to be transformational, not just a little Band-Aid or reform that you just, come back every year. And we're looking for solutions. I think a lot of our legislators are looking for that, but we got to get everybody on board and start thinking about, let's come to the Capitol. Let's sit down. We've got a problem and address it. And many times they do, through conversations. But sometimes the solutions, it feels like they take longer than they really should.
They do. But I mean, isn't that what being American is all about? Having opportunity,
Absolutely.
having freedoms, and being able to become an entrepreneur and make a life for yourself.
Sure.
The American dream.
Absolutely.
One small step, even though we have never been to the moon. I'm sorry. That just did not happen.
All right. I know, I'm not with you there, Lindsay. We know that. But look, at the end of the day, yeah, you're right. Everybody has their own American dream, and it's different for everyone. I mean, individual liberty sometimes versus the collectivism that we see has gone by the wayside so much in our country. And we need to get back to that. We need to start looking at individual liberties as being the greater piece of this than this collectivism of like, one size fits all, and it's good for everybody. And so it should work for everyone. And then not allowing opportunities for the people who actually could utilize the opportunities. And I think that's part of the problem that we see in education is the opposition to education freedom in the state thinks that a one size fits all narrative is
clearly it does not
is the only way to educate children. I've been sharing a lot lately on social media. I think my algorithms obviously around education are pretty high, but I've noticed like a lot of organizations and reels out there, especially in the last year, I've seen this pop up of people who are starting their own types of schools in different
micro schools, charter school. I mean, they're popping up everywhere.
Right. And these schools that present that are an alternative learning environment or present, they're a specialty school of some sort, and they give opportunity. There's so much that's happening out there. And honestly, I'm seeing you're starting to see teachers want to leave the public school system and go off into this learning environment because they see the outcome for students as better and greater. And so that's a problem because, again, if public schools are, if they have a protectionist mindset about protecting whatever it is, and unfortunately sometimes that's the racial impact. It's a myriad of things, protecting the money that they get, and like thinking that they're doing this, but there's also a lot of things that get distorted about the money that isn't necessarily true, right? There are things and opportunities out there that are not taking money from the public school system. But so here's where we are. I mean, obviously we're still not out of session. There's still some things to go. We occasionally hear people tossing around. We have too as well, a special session. But the governor was very firm in his speech this week.
He was.
I think my favorite line from that speech was not prioritizing Nancy Loom over President Trump. And I think he said a lot there. He's talking, because whether you're the pseudo teachers union who, operates in that same manner, this is, we have an education president in the White House, and
we do,
and is bent on making sure that the states and have opportunities. But I think he was very firm in the fact that at some point this is going to happen. So why not get together and let's work on it, and let's put together the best program possible.
Absolutely.
And so unfortunately, House Bill 2, was killed very quickly. And I know the senators will certainly in the Education Committee will say, hey, they talked about it, extensively over the fall, but what they didn't talk about were the education savings accounts, in my opinion, and that is my opinion. But they didn't talk about those to the length of figuring out how could we get this done. And so,
if you can represent your constituents
Yeah.
and you can feel that you have to make a vote going one way because you feel that's what the people of your district want.
Yeah.
But when you're canoodling with Nancy Loom outside of meetings, then I have a problem.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so I think at the end of the day, we still have a lot to do. We have made some great strides in the state. The governor's made announcements about those, whether it's our graduation rates or certain things. But like he's always been saying, especially for the past, 6 months to a year, there's more to do.
Why would we stop here?
Why would we stop? Like, you can't rest. I always, and I've said this on your show before. I had a supervisor, boss, whatever you want to call it, owner of a company I worked for in the construction industry for many, many years. And he used to call me on the phone to say, we've done something good, or and he goes, but we can't rest on our laurels.
Right.
Okay.
There's more to do.
There's more to do. The world changes. We got to keep up. The states around us have passed this. We're now doubling that. Like, it's not just the perimeter. It's like the extra perimeter, right?
We're this lone wolf out there.
Right, exactly. And so we're just like in the middle of this donut that we keep showing every time. But at the end of the day, I have actually paper. You know what? I think maybe I'll just make sure I get that out to all the legislators. But we have data and statistics. Guess what? People in states where this is passed, the people who've supported it have been reelected.
Interesting. Maybe our legislators should look at that.
Yeah.
We got to take our last break, Starla.
Okay.
I want you to be able to tell people where to find you and how to get involved when we get back. So y'all stay with us. I don't want you to miss that. It's very important that we are active in our state and in government, because if we're not, tyranny takes over. Y'all stay with us. We'll be right back here on the Lindsay Beckham Show. If we're not, tyranny takes over. Y'all stay with us. We'll be right back here on the Lindsay Beckham Show.
.1039 WYAB.
At Center for Orthodontics, we believe in family, tradition, and community. From kids to adults, Sandifer offers state-of-the-art orthodontic care with complimentary consultations, so everyone in the family can smile with confidence. Sandifer Orthodontics proudly supports Tri-County Academy and the Building on Tradition campaign, so a short drive to local businesses like Sandifer helps TCA thrive. Begin the journey to a beautiful smile at sandiferortho.com. Sandifer Orthodontics, Highland Village, Jackson, and Gateway Drive in Brandon.
Hello, friends and neighbors. This is David Frederick. I'm here to tell you about the latest development here at Frederick Sales and Service in Brandon. In an effort to always bring you the very best brands, I am proud to announce that Frederick Sales and Service is Central Mississippi's newest dealer for Skag zero-turn mowers and products. We have deals on one of the industry's best brands of zero-turn mowers, Skag. You can buy now and pay later because 0% financing is also available at Frederick's. Come see our inventory. We're here serving you for over 3 decades in Brandon since 1993.
Bad decisions limit future options. Make enough bad decisions and you will destroy your life. Listen to The Flatline with your host, Rick Hughes, every Sunday morning at 8:30 a.m. here on 1039 WYAB. Join us every Sunday for 30 minutes of inspiration, motivation, education, all without manipulation. That's The Flatline with Rick Hughes, heard here on 1039 WYAB each Sunday morning at 8:30 a.m.
When it's time to get serious about work-ready equipment, come see me, Noah Sullivan, at H&H Chief Sales in Carthage. From rugged Big Tex trailers to durable CM and Legend X truck beds, H&H has what your truck needs to work harder and last longer. For the field, H&H carries reliable ag equipment from Salford, New Leader, and Chandler. Visit H&H Chief Sales in Carthage today or anytime at hhchiefsales.com. H&H, quality equipment, knowledgeable service, and solutions that work as hard as you do.
Even with interest rates higher than recent norms, real estate values are still holding strong in Mississippi. We caught up again with one of Mississippi's top real estate agents, Shane Saxton, to explain his recent activity in the market.
In the last year or so, it's been the best of my career. Interest rates have been high, but the real estate market is here to stay. Land values especially are continuing to rise. Home values are holding. If you need help with anything in real estate, just give me a call.
Find Shane Saxton on Facebook or give him a call at 601-540-5040. Hopper Property, 601-74-1435.
When Second's making a play, Short's got to cover.
A winning insurance strategy doesn't rely on one person.
Good hustle, good hustle.
Communicate with your guys and make sure everyone's in the right coverage. It takes a team that knows its roles well, working together to provide an exceptional experience.
Set the screen. You have to protect yourself. 1, 2, 3, Wildcats!
At Shelter Insurance, you can count on our local agents and award-winning customer service to help you protect what matters most.
Come see me, Jamie Creel, at Shelter Insurance and see why Forbes has rated us #1 in the world.
Your pool should be something you enjoy, not something you fight with. Hi, I'm Darren with Elite Pools. At Elite Pools, we do more than just service. We take care of everything your pool needs, from your routine maintenance to your full repairs, upgrades, and even complete transformations. If your pool needs a little attention or a fresh start, then Elite Pools can bring it back to life. Visit Elite Pools online at elitepoolsms.com. That's elitepoolsms.com. Or give us a call. At Elite Pools, we keep you swimming.
Pure Air Consultants offers services on your heating and cooling system. It's time to get your heating system serviced. We offer replacement, service, maintenance agreements. It's important because if you have a gas heating system, it can produce carbon monoxide. So you want to make sure you have your system serviced and cleaned to protect your family. You want to make sure your system is safe to run. You can find us at our website at mypureairconsultants.com, mypureairconsultants.com.
We are back here on the Lindsay Beckham Show. We have been joined by Director of Mississippi's Americans for Prosperity, Ms. Starla Brown. We have about less than a minute, Starla, but tell people where to find you, how you can get involved.
Easily. So on Facebook, we're Americans for Prosperity Mississippi. Or dash Mississippi, I should say. And then we are AFP_MS at AFP_MS on X. And our website is ms.americansforprosperity.org. You can go there. You can find a ton of information, including our 601 blueprint, which is the legislation that we see for the future of Mississippi. You can download the information and see what we're supporting.
Yes, and also follow the National Americans for Prosperity page because they are always talking about what's best for the free market, limited government.
Yeah, on Facebook. And when we have live events and things coming up, they'll all be posted there. So
there's an event coming up March 10th. I think people should go down to Oxford or up to Oxford.
we'll be in Oxford. We'll be coming up. There'll be people there. Yes,
I will keep y'all updated about that for sure. But that's all the time we have for today. I'll be back tomorrow, same time, same place. See you then. Bye. Thanks, Starla.
Thank you.